Welcome to Night Shadows. I'm Stewart Best, where the paranormal is normal, where that which you thought you knew, you didn't, and where the future can be known if you know exactly where to look. Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for tuning in and listening. We have a short update because of activity that's going on in the Middle East and maybe even here in America. And we got Larry on his mountaintop. Hi, Larry.
Hey, Stewart.
A lot of stuff going on. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everybody that we have Frequency, the Hidden Matrix. Book one is paperback now, and you can get that by just clicking on the links that are provided for it. And don't forget to be a membership. Join our membership. There's a ton of stuff up there. And we filter a lot of the junk news out because it's just not important to Christians. But a lot of the stuff that is, you're not going to find it because it's not out there. Anyway, let's go. First of all, Larry just had an update on what's happening from DEPCA files. So evidently there's another wave of attacks from Israel towards Syria.
That's the report that just came out of DEPCA file, reporting that Syrian news agencies are reporting Saturday that Israel is again firing projectiles from the Golan-occupied territory toward Al-Kiswa, and that's south of Damascus. So, and of course, Syria Air Defense says they're targeting the Israeli projectiles. So apparently there's another wave this Saturday of incoming from Israel into Syria.
So this is the second major, I guess one could say, of major missile attacks on the Iranian assets, most likely in Syria. Is this around Damascus, or doesn't it say?
Yeah, it just reports it as being near Damascus.
Okay. Well, you know, we got Isaiah 17. It's kind of interesting. They're kind of targeting Damascus. It's almost like they're kind of reluctant to take it out altogether. Let's see. Let's go over here to Turner. Okay. This is very important, folks. Extremely high military activity over Persian Gulf on Saturday. They've got these apps that you can have on your computers, and you can track worldwide aviation situations. They actually tell you where the airplane is. They tell you what airliner it is, et cetera. It says very, very interesting, the apps that you can get for that. Anyway, it says, updated 9:06 a.m. this morning, threat danger is quoted off the scale. FAA issues global pilot warning for military action in the Persian Gulf. What do you think about that?
Well, apparently what that is the FAA is receiving a warning they're passing on to global air traffic, indicating that there is a huge threat to of military action occurring in the Persian Gulf, and for the global aircraft to avoid that whole area.
So how serious exactly do you think this probably is? It sounds to me like it could get real serious.
Well, you was a pilot. Would you want to fly pretty close to an area where a lot of military traffic was and a missile could take off at any time?
No. It's not a good thing. So I'm just curious as to if we have this kind of military traffic. He's got a map that photographed it at the time that they photographed this. And it's just hundreds of airplanes all over the place. Particularly, though, I notice they're around Bahrain, Dubai, and the United Arab Emirates area. Saudi Arabia's got a bunch. I can't read what the city is around there. But this is kind of dangerous, it looks like to me, because it seems like all of this is military aircraft. So there's got to be a huge, how do I say, not necessarily bombers, but this would tend to confirm logistics, food, medical, stuff like that, as though they're preparing for a major conflict. What else do you have on this from Hal Turner?
Well, what's interesting too, Stewart, is the fact that some of those could be passenger or cargo planes for troops because of the information, and you can read that off his site where the Gulf states have approved the U.S. deployment of troops and assets to that whole region.
Yeah, let me just go over to his site real quick. Okay, we got the breaking news on the fire, extremely high military activity. Let me just see what else he's got. Oh, this is all I can't get in there, so you'll have to.
Well, try to get into it. Some of it you can.
Yeah, no, this one is blocked, so I can't get in there. Can you get
into the one where it talks about, and I'll just read off three things that's going on. It says a large number of Iranians, IRGC, were killed in an Israeli strike into Syria previously, and also the Abraham Lincoln strike group has now been threatened and with a target lock, an act of war from an unknown source. And what that is, basically, someone put a missile lock, if you will, on the strike group, and that is an act of war, actually. And also, U.S. begins deployment of ground troops to Saudi Arabia, and you can find it on there, though. There's another one that says Saudi-led Gulf states approved deployment of U.S. troops in the Gulf region. Arab Gulf states approved deployment of U.S. assets and troops on land and in waters of the Gulf region.
Yeah, it says here, reports coming in from Arab media in the last hour that Saudi Arabia and Gulf states have agreed. Yeah, so this is it. Why would they be talking about this? Now, Trump, somebody asked him, well, are you going to deploy 100,000 troops? And he said, if I was going to deploy troops, it'd have to be 200,000. You don't suppose he's already done it, and that this is what we're watching. Of course, it doesn't take more than 24 hours to get thousands of troops in there with the huge transports we have.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was just going to mention, when he first became president, he gave everybody a clue. They didn't believe a word of it, but he said it anyway. He said, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. You'll find out. So really, all along, every time something happens and we find out about it, it's already occurred. That's the way he works.
Well, that's the good way. That's the smart way. Unfortunately, a lot of us aren't too smart, I guess, when it comes to America. Or previous presidents have warned, well, this is what we're going to do. That's the dumbest thing I guess you could do. So with this approval, though, of Saudi Arabia, how about Iraq? Now, I know we got troops over there, but does anybody know how many?
Well, the funny part of that is, Stewart, they've evacuated all the diplomatic personnel and those that are not military out of Iraq. They've also evacuated all of the oil well or the oil production industry, that were coming out of there. And basically, the U.S. has told Iraq, get out. If you're not going to fight with us against Iran, get out of the way.
Wow. Well, no, Iran hasn't said anything about Israel striking all their assets yet, but I wonder what's going on. They seem to be very quiet. Maybe Putin has told them to just stand down for right now. You just never know what the script is. But here's another one that's very, very important, folks, because this could be a terrorist attack that occurred in New Jersey. Let me read the headline. Larry's probably got more on it. Breaking news: fire at chlorine, which is a very, very dangerous gas, at a chlorine plant in New Jersey may have been Iranian terror attack intended to kill thousands. A factory in Kearney, New Jersey, which manufactures chlorine and other disinfectants, suffered a catastrophic fire last night, with local authorities in nearby New Jersey, Hoboken, and New York City ordering residents to stay inside, close their windows. And now authorities are quietly saying the fire was no accident and looking at whether Iran or its proxies intended to cause a massive release of chlorine gas to murder tens of thousands in northern New Jersey and New York City. Have you heard any more about that, Larry? That's kind of deadly.
Most of it, the insiders are indicating already that they believe it is an intentional situation there. And what they were basically claiming, and Hal Turner said he was told, is that whoever did this, they did it to release the gas, but in the activity to release the gas, there was an explosion, and it all caught fire. That the fire was never intended. It was supposedly going to be a catastrophic gas release only.
Wow. So this may be the beginning, folks, of internal terror attacks here. A good idea to get your water, your food, and be ready to hunker down if you have to, because this could get real serious real fast. And just make sure you can hunker down. I do remember that vision that what's his name had. Can't think of his name right. He was on top of the Empire State Building and saw the collapse of America with the Statue of Liberty. But he also saw a gas attack coming in from over the poles. And it first struck the East Coast, then the West Coast, and then down the middle. And virtually took out the United States for all practical purposes. Anything else, Larry, before we close? I got about a minute and a half left.
Yeah, that was either A.A. Allen or Valdez, and I can't remember which one it was.
That was A.A. Allen, I do remember, yep.
Oh, okay. We've reported that Kuwait apparently is moving to full war footing. And by the way, Hal Turner says that what appears to be happening with the U.S. deployment is similar in nature to Operation Desert Storm 1991.
Yeah, I got a feeling, and somebody posted, I couldn't find it quick enough today, but I'm going to find it and I'll read it on the next show. Somebody sent up a word from the Lord that they claimed they got, in which the Lord said, war will not be delayed anymore, that we are going to go into war. So we'll just have to wait and see whether that's true or not. But the timing is about right. And by the way, folks, it's a blue moon rising tonight, 5 days after Israel became a nation on the 71st. We're in the 71st year. 7 days later will be the 21st, which is the 777. So we should be alert for false flags or any of that kind of stuff, because I think the Lord is, in fact, winding things down on the 71st year. We'll get into that on the next show. Anyway, thanks a lot, Larry, for coming on and briefing us, and we thank everybody for listening. And don't forget, visit our membership site, and we'll let you know if anything breaks loose. Anyway, take care. Thanks again, Larry, for coming on. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I know it's Sunday night, and we wanted to keep it short. Anyway, good night, folks.